Okay. I hope that you all got my email, and in the email I put down all the cottages, because we had talked about how there are different cottages and where they are. They are obviously in many other places in the service. I only did for Shabbat morning. I figured that was the time when we had the most services and the most breaks. So I used Shabbat morning rather than any other service. I will do more of that later, giving you page numbers. I think it makes it easier for everybody.
It does. It does.
Good, good. See, I'm learning. We always, even though you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And I'm learning from my students. They always say that you should learn from your students, and I really am. Okay, the longest one, we'll talk about it just for a minute. We said that the prayer, the Kaddish in general is in Aramaic. It makes it, some of the words are a little harder to pronounce in Aramaic. Some of the words are the same in Hebrew. Some are different actually in Aramaic. We are not going to do any translating for the Kaddish. We will do, when we get to the Kiddush, over the wine and or grape juice, we will do a little bit more of that, understanding what it means. But with the Kaddishes, we're not going to try to do that. The longest Kaddish is the Kaddish de Rabbanan. It's actually the first one in the morning that you see. It's the scholars' prayer. We're going to get to that. The shortest one is the Yatom. Okay, so we'll look and see. I did in my Siddur which parts are in and which parts are out, depending on which Kaddish it is. So we're going to start with the longest one, and it's in the slim sheet. If you have the paper, you can see what page number it is, but I will say it anyway. In the Slim Shalom, it's 71, Sim Shalom 20, and Lev Shalom 111. Okay. Now, let me get to it. Okay. This is the longest one. The part, we're just going to look at it first. If you have, does everybody have it?
Yes.
Okay.
Rabbanan, what does Rabbanan mean?
The rabbis. It's the rabbis, scholars, teachers. And you can see that because if you look at the Hebrew, the first paragraph you see there was the line that we respond, and then you'll see another paragraph. After that paragraph, it starts with Al Yisrael, Ba'al Rabbanan, Ba'al Tamidehon. Okay? Mm-hmm. So that's about, it says the rabbis, the teachers, and the students. So that's basically what it was. When you study, and you can say this prayer, even anytime you study. Like I happen to be part of the Women's League Institute in Philadelphia, and whenever they have a class on Monday mornings, and he starts with the prayer for study, and he ends with this. In some synagogues, only the people that would normally say mourner's Kaddish say it. In some places, everybody says it. Anybody can say it because you study, and that's basically when you say this prayer. So anyway, so the Amen part, if you have the Imru Amen, that's the shortest Kaddish, and we'll see it later. The next one about the Al Yisrael, Va'al Rabbanan, and we are going to read this, Va'al Tamidehon, is only in the Kaddish to Rabbanan, that paragraph. It won't be in any of the other Kaddishes. But then when you get to the 4 lines up or whatever, after that one paragraph, that's also in the Kaddish Shalem, the full Kaddish. And we'll see that. But that's sort of the breakdown of the different ones and what you see in different ones. And we'll see it, but it's easier when you can. I have all of them open in on my couch. Thank God I have a lot of Sidurim. So we're going to read it because we're going to read it. I'm going to read the first paragraph first, and then I'm going to ask for a volunteer. This prayer is not chanted, it is read. We know a lot of our prayers when we sing them, it's easier. Some are chanted, some are really sung into tunes, but this one is always just read. Yit kadal v'yit kadash shemei rabba ba'alma divra hirute v'yamlich malchute v'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. The only translation I'm going to do is v'imru amen, and we say. Remember, we said the U ending is we,
Amen.
and we say amen. Okay, do I have a volunteer?
I can
Yes,
do it.
Arlene Schwartz, and then Celia, you're going to go next.
Yikadal Yikadal the Yitkada Shemei Rabbah Be'alma Divra Hirute the Malik
Read it again. Say it, signed it out. The Yam.
Leak.
It's not the two dots are just to end it. It's not a one dot. The two dots are to end the syllable.
I see it as one in my book.
Oh, but it is two. Okay.
Okay. The lick malhute behaye hon uv yome hon uv haye di
Oh, good.
The
Yep.
whole Beit Yisrael Bagala Uvman Kariv Vimru Amen.
Great. Just I want one more time. I didn't hear it before Kariv. The word before Kariv.
Uvizman.
Perfect. That's exactly right. Uvizman. Good. I didn't hear it. Okay. So that was perfect. Thank you. Okay. Now the next line is Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mevarach La'olam Olmei Olmaya. And we all say that together. And Celia, and I'm going to let you read again because this is short, but you can read this one.
Okay. Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mevarach Leolam Ol Maya. Wait a minute. Ol Alma Omaya.
It's tricky because it has the same sounds. Ul almei almaya. Right, exactly.
Almaya.
Good. It's the same letters and it's just a little bit different with the vowels and the whatever. Okay, I'm going to read the next paragraph. Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitparah, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yitaleh, v'yithalal, shemei dukudsha, brichu. Everybody says brichu. La'almei min kol birchata, v'shirata, tushvachata, v'nechamata, damiran, v'alma, v'imru, amen. Okay. Celia, would you like to continue a little bit?
Sure. Yitbarach v'yishtabah v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh.
Good. Perfect. Do you want to stop? You want to continue? It's up to you.
V'yithadar v'yithala v'yithalel. Shema
Wait. Yitalal. After that, everybody that's not on, are you on? If you're not, 1 minute, Celia. If you're not speaking, if you would mute yourself, because there's some interference here. Hard for us to hear. So, but you feel free to unmute if you have a question, or certainly when you're reading. But otherwise, I'd appreciate if you'd be mute yourself. Yitalal. After that, I'm sorry.
V'yitalal Shema
Shemay, look at the dots, Celia. There's 2 dots, right?
Yeah.
Shemay. What somebody suggested, and this is not a bad idea. If anybody wants to get themselves a large print book,
No,
the
it's
vowels will be bigger. Okay.
Yeah, but
okay.
it's also cataract starting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got that. But wait until you get them taken out, and then you can see what I did.
They're not bad
Okay.
enough yet.
Yeah. Good. Okay. You want to stop?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Brechu is even though there's not a comma. We do that's sort of a stop because we all say brechu when this is being read. If you're not participating in it, you would say it. If you are, obviously, you just keep on going. Do I have a volunteer for Laela? Faye, and then Beth, and then Ann Lee. Let me write this down. Faye, Beth, and okay. Faye, you have to unmute yourself. You can start with Brechu, actually.
Okay. Brechu Le'ela Minkol Brechata Veshirata Tushbechata Venechamata De'amiran Bialma Beimru. Amen.
Good. But I hope you're really reading because I know even when I had the tendency not to read, and I saw the difference between the ones that yitalal, with the ayin yitale, yitalal. So you really, if you look, it you know what it's supposed to sound like. Thank you. Perfect. Great. Faith. 1 minute. I have to open this door. Go on. For some reason, when we had this place redone, the door doesn't really close. So anyway, okay, great. Okay, I'm going to read the next paragraph and then Beth is going to take over. Al Yisrael, the Al Rabbanan, the Al Tamidehon, the Al Kol Tamidehon, Al Kol Man the Askin Ba'araita, Di V'atra Hadain V'di V'chol Atar V'atar, Yehe Lachon, sorry, I thought wrong. Lachon Ulchon Shalama Rabba. Hina v'chista v'rachamin. V'chayin arichin mizona revicha u'forkana min kadam v'hon di shmaya v'imru amen. See, you can hear it's much harder to read, and the sounds are much harder put together than any of the prayers that are in Hebrew. So I think that's why it's nice to spend a little time to make it a little easier for us. Okay. Next comes Beth.
Okay. Al Yisrael, the Al Rabbanan, the Al Talmidehon, the Al Kol Talmidehon, the Al Kol Man,
Perfect.
De Askin.
Perfect.
Be'orata.
Right, because it has a yud.
Oh, right. Okay. Right. Right. D the atra hadain the D the chol atar va'atar yehe lehon
I didn't.
Lehon ulchon shlama rabba china v'chista v'rachamim v'chayin arichin umizona revicha ufurkana min kadam. Would that be pronounced kodam?
No, kadam. It's just a plain little T.
Okay, because it look under
Because
the
it has
cuff,
other
it looks
dots
bigger.
next to it. Yes, no, in my book it doesn't look. It's just. I think it's an optical illusion.
Okay, it
It's
just
not.
looks longer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Avuhon di Vishmaya Ve'imru Amen.
Perfect. Good.
That was
Okay.
tough. I've never heard
It
that
is.
one before.
I'm telling you, you volunteered to the wrong space. I'm telling you that it's Aramaic is much harder. See, just like English is harder than Hebrew, Aramaic is harder than Hebrew too. Okay. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya B'chayim Tovim Aleinu B'al Kol Yisrael B'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'imromav Hu V'rachamav Ya'aseh Shalom Shalom Aleinu B'al Kol Yisrael B'imru Amen. Okay. Okay.
Judi?
Anne Lee.
Judi?
Yes, sure. Question.
Sorry, I have a question.
Sure.
At my synagogue, when people say Oseh Shalom B'Mamav, they go like this.
Yeah,
Do you know?
that's correct.
What does that mean?
Okay. It's at the end of the Kaddishes. All anytime you say it, actually, you go, usually you step backwards, 2 steps, 3 steps, and then you go to, you also do this at the end of the Lenu, actually. You go to the left and to the right and to the middle. It's sort of like encompassing everything. Like when you shake the lulav and you go in the direction. So it's the same idea. Left, right, and middle.
So does it mean let there be peace everywhere? Right?
Sure. And I'm gonna there's another phrase that we'll get to later that we have in one of the, that some people do, which we'll get to. Okay. I just want to have this yes. Any other questions before we have Analia read? Joyce, what are we reading? Yeah, 71. We have that. If anybody has a problem, we're still on this one. Okay, we have the last 2 paragraphs. Analia, I think you volunteered to read this.
Yes. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya B'chayim Tovim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael B'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'imrova Hu B'rachaman Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael B'imru Amen.
Perfect. Great. So I know it was a little tough, but it was perfect and terrific. Now we're going to get to the Kaddish Yatom, which is the mourner's Kaddish, and the Slim Shalom, it's 82. Sim Shalom, the full one, it's 52, and Lev Shalem 121. If you have the paper, if you have the book in front of the paper that I sent out, it's on there. It's the second prayer. Okay, so now we have the Kaddish Yatom. This is really only supposed to be recited by people that are either in their period of mourning from Shiva through the 11 months or 12 months, depending on what your custom is, or a yortzeit. Lucy, do you have a question? But you have to unmute yourself, Lucy, if you have a question.
Sorry, I forgot. What page?
Yeah, I know, it's not easy.
What page in the Red Shalom?
And which one? Lev Shalem, it's on 121. And Sim Shalom, the one that has the whole everything in it, it's 52. And the Slim Shalom, that's Shabbos and festivals, it's 82. Everybody have it? Yes, Ellen.
Judi, I have a question.
Sure.
So is it acceptable if a loved one, like a spouse, and one of their parents passed away, is it okay? Like my husband's dad passed away and I'd like to join him. Now I do have a parent that has passed, if that makes a difference.
Doesn't make, I think that the whole thing about not saying Kaddish, and then I'm going to get to your thing about not saying it, or like not being in for Yizkor, we have all seen that people leave at Yizkor time. It's all I wouldn't say it's, could say it's a Baba Misa if I want to be not negative, or I could say it's folklore, it's whatever. There's no reason you can't say Kaddish. Some people say it for a very close friend that has nobody. I have one woman that I don't think there's anybody that says Kaddish for her. So when I know when it's her yahrzeit, I say it. And there's no blood relation or, you know, marriage relation. It's just somebody that I was very close with. So anytime you decide you want to do it, you can. There's nothing against it. The one with where people leave for Yisker, if their parents, when you mentioned about your parent being not being alive, is they think that if you stay for Yisker, it means you're wishing your parents dead since they're still alive. But
So it's
you know
acceptable.
What?
So it is okay to join a spouse.
Absolutely. And but with going back to yesterday's for 1 second, is there's so many other people we say it for. I mean, specifically in our books, it says for friends. We do it for the martyrs. We do it for the people from the Shoah.
Totally
so, there's always somebody.
Thank you.
And then there's a question just to clarify whether you can say it for somebody that wasn't Jewish. And I'll get to you in 1 second, Susan. Yes, absolutely. If it's somebody close to you, you can. You're Jewish. That's how you mourn. You can say it for somebody that's not Jewish. You can always say it. If it's meaningful to you, Ellen, you can say it. And I like it actually because my husband does too. When I say it and when he says it for his parents, I say it with him too. Because it's supporting them. And also there was a relationship.
That's how I feel.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, Susan.
Thank you.
A comment that I heard years ago, and I don't remember from where, but in the synagogue where I go now, and when I was a little girl, everybody stood for Kaddish and everybody recited. And somebody told us that it's so that the person who is in mourning really should not be alone and should feel.
Well, I like that, Susan. I agree with you, but you don't have to say it. That's the difference. I don't usually suggest that everybody says it, except at a funeral. At a funeral, I do, because you're close to. There's a reason you're at that funeral, so I don't think there's anything wrong with everybody saying it. Then I agree. It's sort of, to me, I thought about it because when you're in Shiva, usually, first of all, you're standing during the whole service. It's a shorter service, whatever. You're usually standing and you're supporting the person. Then the person is out of Shiva, and then they come to the shul and they stand up there and they're standing by themselves. To me, I think it's much nicer to have everybody stand to support the person. Exactly, Susan. And actually, my rabbi now says that everybody should stand for all Kaddishes because it's a really particularly holy prayer, and that everybody should stand all the time. So, and the funny thing is, getting back to Ellen's, for all the other Kaddishes, for the Kaddish Shalem, the Chatzi Kaddish, it appears that people are listening and standing. My tradition was if I was standing before or after, I would stand, but if I was going to be sitting before and after, I would sit. But everybody's standing for all of them except for the mourner's Kaddish and the Kaddish Brahmanan. They won't stand because they feel like it's bad luck or whatever. So whatever, but you can certainly say it to any time. Okay, now I will stop talking. Welcome, Cindy. Okay, so does everybody have the page? Because I can give it again if somebody doesn't have it. Okay, we're on Kaddish Yatom, and if you look at it after the there's a paragraph, there's a line, there's another paragraph. Okay, then after that it starts Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya. That is not in the Kaddish Kaddish. We did not see that. We stopped before that. We stopped before that in the Kaddish Kaddish, but it is in the Kaddish Yatom. I tried to make, can say what was in where. So the last two paragraphs are actually not in the Kaddish Kaddish, which we will get to after this one. Okay, so I am not going to read again because I don't want to waste our time. I will have somebody else because this is the same. The first part is the same as what we read before. Do I have anybody that will volunteer? And you could, Linda. Okay, Linda, then Celia, then Phyllis. Okay, Linda first.
Yikadal. V'yitkadash Shmei Rabbah. Ba'alma Divra Kirute the Yamlik Malkute Bahaye Von.
Clone. It looks, it's very similar to the bet, but it's not.
Okay.
You see it? Bahaye Cone.
Bahaye Cone. Uv Yome Cone. Uv Hey.
Kaye.
Aye.
Good.
The Kal.
Cole. This one is, you should see a long in the middle or a dot underneath.
The call Beit Yisrael Ba'agala Uvidman Kariv Ve'imru Amen.
Good. Okay. Good. Coal, by the way, whole or coal, that's all. You'll see it a lot. That's a pretty common word. And it's always the O sound. Okay.
Some of the others.
Question, Arlene.
Yeah, I know you told us we're not
translating, yes, but you want to know something. Yeah.
It keeps on coming up. Yeet must mean may. Is that, or what's
that's
yeet?
It's a verb form. Here they say exalted. It's I think it's from the same word as from root gadol, big. Raised, exalted is sort of a nice, much a nicer way to, because you're talking about God.
And the other one is Rabbah. It keeps on coming up, Rabbah, on all of the prayers. Rabbah.
Yes. I'm trying to go down. Trying to think. Rabbah usually means, but it could be spelled differently. Is like Toda Rabbah, a lot, more, whatever.
Okay.
You're right, and I'm gonna figure it out later.
There's two more.
Yeah.
There's
okay.
Two more.
And the other thing that
No.
Yeah.
There's two more. There's hone all the time. Hone as the ending. Hone. It's all over the prayer. And
yes.
alma. And alma.
I think that's because it's a verb form and it's Aramaic. It's not Hebrew. You will not hear that in Hebrew.
All right.
If you think about it, the other prayers we do. We don't have that phone anywhere.
Okay.
Right?
Sorry for interrupting, but
that's okay. No, please feel free anytime. Sometimes I miss it. No, please feel free anytime to ask a question. The only other thing that is in here that I would say that we see a lot also is Beit Yisrael, the house of Israel. Okay, and that is Hebrew, Beit Yisrael. Okay. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Please feel free to ask questions. Okay, Celia, didn't you do this? This is what you did last time in the
I don't remember where it was.
It's all right.
Yehei Shema Rabbah Ma Vorek Le.
Wait. I got lost. You're going in and out. Yehei Shmei Rabbi, I heard, and then you went out.
Ma Vorek Le. Lam Al Maya.
Good. Yeah, it's hard to say. I'm telling you.
Varek Vayit Taba Vayit Ha'ar Vayit Roman.
Somebody is not mute. 1 minute. Sorry, Celia. Somebody is not muted, and there's a lot of feedback. I can mute you all, but I'd rather not. Let's see. And you can unmute. I'm muting you now, but you can unmute yourselves, I think. If you can't, let me know. Raise your hand. Okay, Celia, I'm sorry. Go back.
Go back. Go back to where?
Wherever you feel comfortable, you can start. I can
start that last word. V'yit nasa, v'yit hadar, v'yit Allah. Vayit Halal Shemay. I fixed it. Shemay de Kudesha Borehu.
Good.
La Allah min.
No, look at the dots. Look at the dots underneath. Ayla. That has two dots under the ayin.
Le'ala min kol bir kata v'shirata.
Good.
Tushbahata.
Good.
V'nehamata da amiran ba'al ma ve'imru amen.
Yes, and yes, we I forget who it was that said these are Joy. Was it Joyce? Who was it? Arlene. The endings are very different in a lot of these words, and it's really because it's Aramaic instead of Hebrew. You hear the different suffixes and different pronoun endings. Good. Okay. The next
question.
Yes.
Sorry.
Sure.
In the book I have where it says Le'ela, there's a footnote.
Yes.
And it says on Shabbat Shuvah and what I can't remember what Shabbat Shuvah means.
Shabbat Shuvah is the Shabbat between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur.
Okay, thanks.
I'm surprised that no, but thank you, Susan. I meant to say something because it's in my book too. It has it in brackets, and I meant to clarify it and I didn't. Thank you. Yeah, it's there because it takes up a lot of space for something you only do one time a year. But yes, it's only Shabbat Shuvah. That's the only time you say that. But you do with all the Kaddishes, by the way. You add La'ela and La'ela, and you can pay attention next year. There's two La'elas, and most times, especially when we're not doing it so much, it's the Shalech Tzibur. But when you hear the Mourner's Kaddish, you'll hear people that they're not reading. First of all, they're just seeing. They've memorized you, but even during that one, you have to say La'ela, and all the Kaddishes. Okay.
What does that mean? La'ela.
Higher and higher.
Higher and higher. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. The next part, where it starts Yehei, is in the Kadesh Shalem, but not in the Chatzi Kaddish. And it's obviously in this as well. Phyllis, I think, had volunteered. Okay, we read it already, so I think you can do it. If you want me to read it, I can. Phyllis, I think you have to unmute yourself. I muted you.
Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chaim Olenu V'al Kol Yisrael.
Cole. First of all, I think it's good that you're fluent, but make sure you're really reading, okay? But it's Cole.
Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'imromav Hu Yaseh Shalom Alenu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen.
Okay, in the Lev Shalem, if anybody's using the Lev Shalem, you will see 4 words in brackets towards the end of the last line. It's Al Kol Yoshvei Tevel. And some synagogues and some Shalech Tzibur use that, some do not. If they don't whatever. But if just in case you do hear it, I want you to know that it says all the people on earth. It's not just, it says Aleinu is us, on us, Al Kol Yisrael, and all the Jews. And now a lot of people add and on everybody in the world. And so it's some synagogue.
What's the Hebrew for that? I heard it, but
Al Kol Yoshvei Tevel.
Yoshvei
Tevel.
Amen.
It's not in all synagogues, it's not in all whatever, but in case you hear it, that's what it is. It's what trying to be more universal.
All people of the world means?
Yeah, everybody that's here, not just the Jews. All who dwell on earth is how they translate it in the Lev Shalem.
Thank you.
Okay, so we did the mourner's Kaddish. Okay, we did the Kaddish Shalem, we did the Kadesh Yatom. The next one is the Chatzi Kaddish, and the Slim Shalom, it's 106. Sim Shalom, 338, and Lev Shalem, 148. Okay, let's see, where am I?
I have a question, Judi. So
sure, please.
Are the Hatzi Kaddish is the same whether it's Shabbat, morning, holiday? It's always the same.
All of the ones, they're all the same, no matter when they are, except for the line about the Shabbat Shuvah.
Right, but I'm talking about the Hatzi.
All of them are the same. The Hatzi Kaddish is always the same. The Kadesh Shalem is always the same. The Kadesh Yatom is always the same. The Kaddish Shalem is always the same. Do you understand?
Sometimes I might be on the wrong Kaddish, like the wrong section of the book when I'm at services sometimes.
Where? Tell me where you are, because I just
well, no, now I'm on 338. You did a great job of finding the pages today, so I'm good. I'm just thinking about in other times. I thank you so much.
Same. If you find anything, write it down and ask me next week, because it should be the same no matter where it is in the prayer book. I just thought it was easier to do Shabbat because they were all there, and it's also a service that many of us attend.
No, this is a big help. Thank you.
What's Hatzi, Judi?
Half.
Half.
That's going to be the shortest one, the Chatzi Kaddish. That's a half Kaddish. Okay, now let me see where I am. 338. Let's see. Now I have to get to my page. And I marked it somewhere. Okay. And that is also the same wherever you are. It will be the same. And wherever you are in the service, it should be the same. Okay. We're up to the Chatzi Kaddish. Let me go here. It was in this book. Okay. This is the shortest one. Okay. Who wants to volunteer? Because all this we've already read. Lucy. And then Faye.
Okay.
And then if I really love it, and I don't want to push anybody, but I'd really love it if somebody that hasn't read before reads. And I only say that because that's part of being fluent, and that's what we're all trying to do. So if you feel brave enough, please. And if you don't feel brave enough, you can feel brave enough to call me sometime and read to me just when it's one-on-one. I'd be happy to do that too. So, but
do we have
please.
Your telephone? Have your number? I don't have it.
Yes, I put it in the email. I put it in the email that I sent out, I believe. I know in the first one for sure. And if I didn't, I will make sure I do it in the next one. I'm not going to read it to you because that's silly. I don't want you to have to write it down. But I will make sure I send it out in the next one. I've tried to put it in every one. So please feel free to call. If there, also, I was going to say, and we may get to the prayer for Israel. I'm not sure. We're not going to do it today. If there's a specific prayer that you want to learn that maybe not everybody is that hot on, I'd be more than happy to work with you on a one-on-one, either before class or at another time. So please feel free anytime to contact me, either by email or phone. Okay. Okay, now we're back to the Chatzi Kaddish. Okay. Did I get it? Some people volunteered. I'm sure I got lost already. Okay, Cindy, you haven't opened your mouth yet. Yes. Good.
You said I was first, Lucy.
Sorry, Lucy, then Cindy. Sorry, I wrote it down, but Lucy and Faye, I wrote it down on my paper. Lucy, all right. Let's go.
Yish Kadal, Yish Kadash, Shema, Shemay Rabor, Bialma, I'm sorry, Balma, Do,
D.
I should know this by heart. Barak,
It's harder when you're reading it. Yeah, you know it, but you're trying to read it, and it makes it a little harder. Divra, Barach.
I should put more light on here. Barach, Barute, Yemlich, Milchute, Milvute, Bechayemon, Uvion, Uvio Mavon.
Mechon. The same, it's very similar. Bechayechon, Uvio Mechon.
Should have put more light.
We're getting back to the chon endings that somebody brought up. Yes.
I'm sorry. Okay. I'll find myself again. Okay.
Uvchaye, you're up to.
Yom Avon, Uvchaye, the Chol Beit Yisrael, Be'agala, Uviduma,
Uvizman.
Wait, Uvizman.
Ba'agala, Uvizman.
Karov.
Riv.
Amen.
Good. Thank you. Okay. They.
Okay. Yehi Shemei Rabba Mivarach Le'alam Ulmaya Almaya.
Yeah, read again, just the last two words.
Okay. Ul Almay Almaya.
Good.
Should I continue?
Sure.
Okay. It barach ve'ish tabach ve'it pa'ar.
Okay, 1 minute. There is a yud there, okay? And when the yud has a vowel underneath it, particularly, it's pronounced not as a consonant, not as a vowel. So it's the yeet. There's a yit there.
Okay.
You don't have to do as much as I just said it, but I just wanted you to hear. Okay.
Ve'it pa'ar, ve'it roman.
It's not ve'it, it's ve'yit. You have to say the yud.
Ve'it roman.
Yeet. Yeah. A consonant, not a vowel.
Well, okay. Say it again. I mean,
Ve'yit kadash.
Okay.
Well, here it is. Ve'yish tabach, ve'yit parar, ve'yit romam, ve'yit naseh, ve'yit hadar. There's a lot of yits here. So.
Right, I think that's what I'm saying, but I guess
no, I don't
like
hear it.
Part of it is Zoom, I'm sure, Faye. Okay,
yeah.
Keep going.
Okay. Yes. Ve'ish tabach, ve'it pa'ar, ve'it romem, ve'it naseh, ve'it hadar, ve'it halel, ve'it halal, shemei kedusha b'rechu, le'ela minkol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran ve'alma be'imru amen.
Good, perfect. You see, that's the shortest one.
Yeah.
That takes away more stuff and doesn't add anything that isn't in any of the other ones. That's the shortest one, the Chatzi Kaddish. Okay, one more. Oh, we have time. Now we're in the Kaddish Shalem. Slim Shalom 138, 392 in the Sim Shalom, and 167 in the Lev Shalem. Okay. And okay, if you're now, is everybody on the page? I'll wait if you're not. Okay, if you're on the page. Now, the part that's different about this one, just as we're tying, is if you go after the part we just read, where it said V'imru Amen, there's Tit, Kabal, slow tone, uvahu tone. This is really hard to say. Dechol Yisrael kadam avuhon di shemaya ve'imru amen. That line is different, and it's added in the Kaddish Shalem. It's not in the other ones. Okay, it has, and then it has the other
Judi,
stuff
where
that's
are
in
you?
some of the. Okay,
sorry.
and after there's the first paragraph. Then there's the line that we all say together. Then there's another paragraph. Okay, after that it goes to it has that special line that only exists in the full Kaddish Shalem, and okay, and it's basically asking for our prayers to be accepted, and it is a little tricky. We have 10 more minutes, so we're going to have time to do this. And then if we have, yeah.
Can
Linda,
I read?
help me.
Sorry, can I read?
Yeah.
But can I read when we get to that part, because I don't know it at all, and I'd rather read.
I'm impressed. I'm going to say you haven't read, and you're going to take the hardest line. I'm very impressed. I would be happy to give that to you, Linda. No problem. I'm sure everybody else would be happy to give it to you too. So just one thing that when we read before is we talked about Sephardic and Ashkenazic Hebrew, and you can do whatever you want, but I just want to clarify that in Sephardic Hebrew, it would not be Yiskadal, it would be Yitkadal. So you just hear it. Okay, Lucy, you have a question. Unmute.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Yes. Just a quick question.
Sure.
I just want to know what when the different
okay, you are so smart. I'm telling you, I was about to do that, and I said, no, I'm going to wait until we do this prayer, so we'll have done all the Kaddishes, and then I will tell you a little bit about why we have the different ones where. Thank you, Lucy. You're so smart. You anticipated. Okay, now we're going to read. Who wants to start? Come on. Okay, Cindy and then Joyce.
Yeet kadal, the yeet kadal. Am I in the right spot?
Yes, you are, but somebody else isn't muted and reading along, which is lovely, but you have to mute yourself if you're going to read along. Yeah, go, Cindy.
V'yit kadal, v'yit kadesh, shemei rabbah, v'alma di bira kerute.
Good.
V'yamlich malkute v'chaye kon. Wait, phone.
Good.
Uyo may kon. Uchaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvi's main.
No, look at the vowel. It's a line under the mem.
Uvi man kareem ba'im ru amen.
Good. You have to read more, Cindy. You stopped reading for me. I don't know if you're reading for anybody else, but you're not reading
for my son.
I don't mean to pick on you, but good. Thank you. Thank you. Cindy's the one that keeps me honest. Okay. Joyce, I think you volunteered to read next.
Okay. Yehei, Shemei. Now, is there a dot in the hay there? I don't know if that's a dot or a
There
pen.
is a dot in the hay, but there's not, you don't know, it has nothing to do with how you're reading it.
Okay. So it's, let's say, Shemei, Rabbah, Mivarach, Le'olam, Ulal Mei, Al Maya.
Good. Read a little more.
Okay. Yit barach, v'yis tabach, v'yit pa'ar, v'yit roman, v'yit naseh, v'yit hadar, v'yit aleh, v'yit halal. Shemay dekudasha.
Just read the next two words.
Good. Rihu.
Good. Okay. All right. I need another volunteer.
Judi, before you go.
Yes, sure, Arlene.
Some people are saying v'yit, which is how we learned that vowel when we did it in the beginner class. And then so many other people are saying v'yit. What is that vowel? Is it eat or is it? I mean,
it's an E, but it's if it doesn't have a yud after it, okay? The yid part. It's ye. I don't know how else to say it. It really should be an E sound, a long E, because it has the one dot, and it should be an E sound. Yes, a long E. The two dots are left. Yes, and obviously, nobody's going to.
Thank you. I was getting confused.
The other one. Yes, we're trying to do it as correctly as possible, just so that people know, and then whatever you do is obviously acceptable. But yeah. Okay.
Say. Okay. Okay. So would be is it yay? Yet. So would be the yet. Okay. Let's see.
Yit hadar.
The yet.
Barak is where we are exactly. Okay.
So it would be yay sound then. So that's a yay sound then. Okay.
E. It's an E, long E. Okay. Okay, we're finished with Briahu, and we're up to La'ela, and I need a volunteer. Linda, you're going to start from here? Okay, good for you. Okay, but you just have to unmute yourself.
Okay. La'ela, min kol, birhata, v'shirata, tushbechata, v'nechamata, da'amiran, be'alma, v'yimru, amen. Tit kabal, slow tachon, utachon, dechol Yisrael, kol dechol Yisrael, kadam.
It's actually kodem, dam.
Kodem.
Because you see the different.
Right, kodam. Aluhon, di, vishmaya, v'imru, amen.
Fabulous. I think it's fabulous, and it's part of Zoom and part of the fact that the sound isn't perfect. The hey, sometimes people say as a ch. Avuhon, it's just a simple H. It's not a ch. And it could be just my ears, but just for everybody else also to just clarify that it's a simple H. But that was perfect. You just don't have to complain. You did that perfectly. Thank you. Fabulous. Who's going to finish up with the last lines? Lucy. Okay. And Celia, if I read them, we'll see if we get to you. If not, next week. Okay. Lucy. But you have to unmute yourself, Lucy.
I forget. Okay.
Lucy, you disappeared instead of unmuting yourself. You disappeared from me. And you're still muted. Okay.
I didn't know that you see that.
Okay. Yehey.
Oh, I'm ahead of myself. Yehey Shalom Rabba Mon Min Shemayim V'Chayim Oleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Imru Amen. Osei Shalom V'Imru Min
Vav.
V'Imran. I'm sorry.
Vav.
Hold on, my mouth is drawing. Beam Roman, right? Is that right?
Mimomav. It's the V sound at the end.
Oh, what sound at the end?
V.
Yeah,
Bimromav.
right. That's what I thought. Beam. All right.
If it was a little longer, it would be a nun, a final nun, but
Right.
it's not.
Okay. I had more lights, I can see a little better. Okay, who Yaseh Shalom Olenu V'Alkol Yisrael. Do I read what's in the
It's up to you. You're the Shliach board. You get to decide.
Okay. Yeah. Yael Baal Shovei Toveh.
Baal Kol Yoshvei Tevel.
V'imaru Amen.
Good. Okay. Now we just have a couple minutes left. It's 11 o'clock, but I'm going to take 3 minutes. I'm going to take of your time, please. Okay. I looked at it. And if you have the sheet, it makes it a little easier. The Kaddish Rabbanan, I explained, that's the one we after we've studied. And you will have different choices of study, or the Shliach Tzibor will tell you which piece to study, and then you do the Kaddish Rabbanan. Then the Kaddish Tom you do at the beginning of the service. I think honestly they did it at the beginning for people that didn't stay to the end and wanted to say Kaddish. So they have one in the beginning. The Chatzi Kaddish is between sections of the service, but not a dramatic change, because the first Chatzi Kaddish on Shabbat morning is after the introductory, the Psuikei de Zimra, before the main part of the service, the Shema and the Mida, all the stuff that's around the Shema and the Mida, and that's, you have a Chatzi Kaddish that breaks those two places. Then after Shacharit is over, before we start the Torah service, you have Shalem, which is a full stop. Remember we talked about commas and semicolons or whatever, or half stop and full stop. The next Kaddish is the Chatzi Kaddish. It's before the Maftir Aliyah. And this was not clear to me because I'm thinking, we're still actually in the middle of the Torah service. Yes, we're in the middle of the Torah service, but we finished the Torah reading. Even though we're going to read a piece again, we finished the complete portion that we're reading that week. So then before the Maftir Aliyah, it's a Chatzi Kaddish. It's a comma. Then between the Torah service, and also they feel like the reading the Torah is study as opposed to prayer. So they do have the breaks there. Then you have a Chatzi Kaddish between the Torah service and Musaf. So that's you finish the Torah service. Now you're going to the last portion of the service. And then Kaddish Shalem is after the Midah, before Ein Kelohenu, because that was really the end of the main service. They added, the Elena was sort of like an ending, like we do a Don Olam now. So it was at the end, so there's a full break. And then you might ask, not only do we do Ein Kelohenu, we do Elena and Kaddish Atom. Those were all added after. Ein Kelohenu was the last one, and the other prayers afterwards were added. So the full stop after the Midah, before the Ein Kelohenu, and then you have the Kaddish Atom. And my husband said they added that. It used to be really at the end, after the service, so the kids who were orphans could say it, who were not really participating in the service since they were not yet bar mitzvah age. So that is the breakdown. And if you look at the paper that I sent you, it's all written out and a little, and where it is in the service, even though you can see it in the book, obviously, but the break in the service where it shows up. Any questions?
Is that on the email?
Yes, it's the attachment that I sent this week.
Okay, I'll send it out. One more question. What does Kaddish actually mean, since there's so many different aspects? I always,
It is, and not on to add a little more, you could say Kiddush, you could say Kedusha, it's all from the same word, holy. It's all from the same word, holiness.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay,
yes,
Susan.
That I don't know, and I hope I say it right.
Sorry, I have to run. I'm sorry.
Okay, please, Robin. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next week, I think we're going to work on the kiddishes and a few other things. I will let you know in advance. We will do one more week, and the next week we will start working on Pesach because it is Rosh Chodesh Adar. So we may do, so next week, actually, we discussed before, we're going to do the announcement of the new month because that will be done the week after is Rosh Chodesh, so you're going to announce it the Shabbos before. I'm going to call on you, Cindy, in 1 second. So we'll do that, and yes, Cindy next, and then Susan, and if anybody has to go, please
Excuse me, I must leave. Shabbat shalom,
Yeah.
everybody. I must go. Bye-bye.
Cindy, do you have a question?
Yeah, I just had a comment. I just wanted to thank you for giving us the information ahead of time. It's just really helpful to know what to practice.
Good. Please let me know. And if there's anything else I could do to make it easier, please let me know, because sometimes I'm just not aware of it. And thank you. Yes. And this way also you have this. So yes, Susan, you have a question.
I wanted to say too, that you explain things that we've sung or heard all our lives. And it's so nice to finally know the reason.
Well, I'm learning too, so thank you. Yes.
Thank you. And I have one question. You said a word I don't know. Shleach Tzipor. What does that mean, please?
Shleach Tzipor, the person that is the designated person that's leading the service.
Would that not be the rabbi?
It can be a cantor. It could be a congregant. Whoever is doing the davening from the Amud, the person that's. Okay, you know who I mean?
The davener that is not the rabbi and is not the cantor?
Could be the cantor. Doesn't have to be the cantor.
Well,
whoever it is that's actually
too, right?
doing the Hebrew part
Could be
of the
the
service.
rabbi. Yes.
It could be the rabbi. It could be anybody in the shul, but it's a person that's when it comes to the kedusha, they're the one that's leading you. Or when all the kaddishes that are not done together, it's the person that's leading the service in Hebrew.
Who decided to have all these cottages? Who made what's? Was there a board? Who made this all? Holster, how did this all get together like that?
Good question,
It is new to me.
They all sat down together and decided. No, over the years things got added and changed and put together. And I forget. It'll come to me, and I know who it is who did the first really siddur that we know of. That we know of, obviously.
So many of them. So many. If you mean in case you get it.
Yeah, 1 minute. Linda, do you want to go? You're raising your hand.
Yeah.
Eileen, I'm not going to forget about you.
I heard in a class a long time ago that there were separate services and the cottages help pull the services together. Because
they are. Remember, thank you. Yes, exactly right. And I'm sure I didn't describe it correctly. I said Sukkei de Zimra. That's really a section or a service, you can call it. The Torah service. We talk about the Torah service. That piece. And then Musaf, Musaf is another piece. And exactly right. And between those are the cottages. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you both.
Okay, Eileen.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. I have to go.
Okay, I will let you go. I will send out an email with what we're going to do. I think we're going to try to do the Kiddush also next week, speaking about Kaddish and Kiddushes. That we may try to do the Kiddush for Friday night and Saturday morning.
Thank you. It was a great class.